So, what after fellowship? During fellowship, they would have learned the hard skills and the soft skills. But after fellowship, they would probably join either a medical college in government or private, or join an institute like ours or a corporate hospital, or they may enter into solo practice. The problem comes only when they enter into a solo practice, because that is where they somehow get flummoxed or stumped by certain problems that they would not have learned during their fellowship. And that is the purpose of this presentation, to make them learn, or to add in the curriculum certain things which they should learn before they start their solo practice. So management skills is something to begin with. How to recruit a receptionist, a housekeeping assistant, an OPD assistant, a counselor, OT nurse, CSSE staff. All these are basic requirements to start a solo practice. And how to conduct an interview, what questions to ask in the interview, whether where the previous employment was, do a background check and all that. And as the practice grows, they probably will have to hire managers and accountants, and how to go about it in a phased manner. Training of staff is something that they have to learn. Whenever there's a training program going on in their alma mater, they have to attend the program, so that they also learn how to train the staff. Dealing with mediocrity and blunders done by the staff, that is very, very important, because this is a very delicate issue. Identifying the strengths and weaknesses of staff for proper selection and the proper portfolio allocation is something that is important to know. And the knowledge about the labor law is also important. Procuring licenses to start practice, applying for memberships, and buying indemnity. I think medical indemnity is something that is very, very essential in the present day of litigations, and therefore I think that is also important. Certain aspects about finance management, bookkeeping, payments and receipts, and it is better to learn MS Excel, if not Tally. Tally would be the best, but MS Excel at least. Cash management, taxes is something which is very, very important. GST, they should know about GST, income tax laws, professional tax, tax exemptions. They should take the full benefit of tax exemptions. Every single pie that is spent as a professional expense has to be documented, even if it is cash payment. Depreciation, they should have a knowledge about, and etc. Building up a capital account for new equipment, upgradation, maybe upgradation to bigger, better equipment, or better place of practice, and expansion, and so on. And how to save, how to invest, and how to invest wisely is something that they have to learn. About store and inventory, I think I'll not go into the details. It is enough to just to read out these um, the points written there. The supply source, they would, when they enter into a private practice, they would not know where to buy viscoat from, where to buy viscoelastic from, where to buy the lenses from. So I think it is important for them to go to the store in the alma mater and ask the storekeeper about all these details. Store, they should learn about storekeeping, indents and purchases, inventory, inward, outward, and everything. Monthly stock, opening stock, closing stock, all this they have to learn. First in, first out, keeping a tab on the expiry date, sorting of drugs look alike and sound alike, preservation of consumables, especially our injections, the Accentrix, ranibizumab, the intravitreal injections that we use have all to be maintained at a low temperature, and refrigerator temperature maintenance and maintenance of the refrigerator itself is something that they have to learn. Most importantly, it is working of the CSSD. They should learn. Just one more minute. Working of CSSD is something that we have to teach them. For example, cleaning of instruments, protecting tips of delicate instruments, ETO, steam autoclave, the different processes of drying, packing, and sterilization, either by autoclave or by ETO, have to be learnt by the fellow before they leave the institute. Troubleshooting common problems with equipment, listen carefully to instructions during any installation of the machine that happens. They have to be very, very alert, and they have to involve themselves with technicians and OT personnel. Managing a difficult patient is something that is a topic by itself, and we can have a 1 hour session on this. Basically, the 3 points that are important are hearing him out because he or she wants to vent out his feelings. Empathizing is something that we have to do, and keeping cool throughout is another thing that we have to exercise. Marketing is also important because he's just started and he would like to make some money. Making his presence felt good, have a good rapport with local practitioners. Memberships of all associations have to be sought. Giving awareness lectures and sees every opportunity in print, electronic, and social media. But the most powerful tool, I believe, is happy patients. And these happy patients are the ones who will probably spread the word of mouth, spread the good word about you, and bring more patients for you. So, Professor G. N. Rao, again, I would like to quote. He says there are three types of practitioners: clinicians and academicians, ophthalmic managers, and ophthalmic leaders. Ophthalmic leaders are the one with vision, like Professor G. N. Rao himself. And I think we can be good clinicians and academicians. Some of us can become ophthalmic managers, but very few can become ophthalmic leaders. Thank you very much.